What is your favorite shape?
Shape.
Circle.
Circle.
Triangle.
What is happening?
Man, I was very excited to do this podcast. That answer just went so many different directions. No, let's not get into that. Well, let's get into it.
The award for the most boring question.
I'm gonna change mine
At the
to a
intro.
square. I'm gonna change mine to a square.
All right, let's get creative. Why did you even bring this question up?
Because you guys don't have like favorite things, like favorite numbers, favorite letter of the alphabet. Like there's one that just
Okay.
looks better than all the other ones.
Yes,
There's
I agree.
like one that just like
now we're
really
onto something.
There's like one that just really like makes you feel
Just
good
works.
inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the circle and square do that for me.
Those are very opposite things.
I
A
know.
circle and a square
Yeah.
are very, very different.
They fulfill two different feelings.
Well, it's your question. Pick one.
I'll go with the square for this one.
Okay, you
why
are a square. That's
Okay,
why.
sure.
All right.
No,
Why
there's something
square?
with the number 4 that really gets to me. Like number 4 has been like my favorite number, and when I used to walk into a room, like at least for like 10 years at some point in my childhood, I used to walk into a room and acknowledge every corner on the ceiling and like look at every corner in the room or like touch every corner of a desk. And then eventually I had to like force myself to stop, but it was something about the number 4 that was like good to me.
Okay.
Interesting.
Shami, what'd you
And
go
so
with?
like the square.
I went with circle.
Okay.
Circle is the most functional object. Factually.
You're thinking like a wheel and
A wheel, everything.
Pie.
And pie, like mathematics wise, it has no corners. It's infinite. It's insane shape. Like nothing is as complicated
insane
as the
shape.
circle.
Or a simple.
No,
Yeah,
complicated. It's complicated. But yet it's simple too. But it's infinitely complicated. Because the pi number, right? 3.14159 goes infinitely. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, but I never really understood that.
Amber, what do you understand?
shout out to Amber, keeping it real. I went with the triangle. I was thinking of like actually buildings and keystones, and how like pyramids. You know, whenever I guess that would be the actual pyramid shape, but triangles work too. You always need that triangle piece to, like, for example, an arch. You need that keystone in there. It doesn't have to be triangle, actually, now that I think about it. But I don't know, the corners. It's a cool shape.
Pizza, bro.
It's really pizza. Yeah. Actually, triangles are like really an inconvenient shape. Now that I think about it,
They're actually very
Triangle?
unique because you have an isosceles triangle, you have an acute triangle, you can have a obtuse triangle.
Amber just spitting out everything she remembers from school about triangles.
They're so
trying to
unique.
sound
Like you can
smart.
no, but like you can have a skinny one. It could be fat. Like there's just like so many possibilities with a triangle.
Yeah, but I mean, in everyday function, like a triangle, whenever there's not many triangular
Traffic
things.
cones.
Yeah, that's a cone though. and I think if it's straight up, yeah, like a pyramid, a cone, I think like it works in those types of things. But like I'm thinking of furniture and yeah,
Or like a
different
stool.
things
Like a
that.
stool
A stool is
has like 3 legs. 3 legs.
Let's
then
just before we allow her to embarrass herself.
Let's stop right here.
You need at least 3 legs in a stool.
That's what. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Good job.
That's not what you meant, then just say that, okay? I was trying to help your point when you said furniture. Okay, well, we're going to be talking about shapes a lot in this episode, so I just thought we should start it off that way.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Amber.
Great question. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning into an episode of Strange Flavors. My name is Shimmer.
For us.
My name is Amber.
And this is brought to you by Alif Theory, and this is also the strangest and greatest podcast in the game. If you'd like to email us or send us your wonderful music, strangeflavorspodcast@gmail.com. You can hear this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcasts, and you can also watch our beautiful faces on YouTube.
Tell your cousin to come watch me.
Whoa! You can comment, like, and subscribe on YouTube and anywhere else you listen to the podcast. We're on all social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere, and including now TikTok. Be sure to follow us on there. And guys, we have an amazing announcement today.
Oh, snap. We always have amazing announcements, to be honest.
Honestly, you guys have been blowing our minds, and this week is no exception. Actually, it is an exception. Because Strange Flavors Town just got bigger.
No
Again?
way.
It
What?
just got bigger.
There's so much expansion.
Infinitely bigger. Just kidding. Not infinitely bigger. But we got our OG Bobber's Bagels. Thank you, Bobber.
Thank you.
We got the second OG Cassie's Cupcakes.
Of course.
Delicious.
From last episode, we got Erha's Ices.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping invented ices, honestly.
And we've got not one, but 2 more stores.
What?
2 more restaurants.
That's a lot.
Fariha's Falafels and
Ooh.
Aslam's Apples.
Nice.
this.
We got fruit. We
Yeah,
finally got some fruit.
diversity.
Diversity. We've got 5
And the falafels.
supporters.
Arabic ting, okay.
Yeah.
We got 5 supporters total, and this is amazing. Thank you guys. If you'd like to be part of Strange Flavors Town, there is a link down below, and you can be part of Strange Flavors Town. Just like these wonderful restaurants, and open up your own restaurant.
In
Yes.
Strange Flavors Town.
And who knows, maybe the intro will be infinitely long.
Oh, wow.
Depending on how many.
I'm
We'll
sure
have to
they
figure
want
that
that.
out. I mean, it's fun. The Strange Flavors Town is really fun.
Yeah, but it's getting hard now, so. But we
We have
appreciate
to-
it.
We have to eventually like build this town.
Yep. And also, if you guys didn't know, we have an awesome YouTube channel that goes by the name of Ronald Ponal. We have an amazing Discord. We have a Patreon with exclusive content. And we also have merch. RonaldPonal.com.
See it? I'm wearing
I
it.
like it.
Ooh, that looks nice. That
Thank
looks,
you.
Show it again. Show it again. Let me see it.
I made it
Ooh.
myself.
Ooh.
If you guys are listening to this, it's the Intentions shirt. That's very nice.
Intentions, dog. Yeah, thank you guys so much for all that support. It really does mean a lot. And we can't wait. If you didn't hear last podcast, we are working on this album, which the patrons will definitely get more exclusive insight into for Ronald Ponal. So just going to keep chipping away at that, and you can look out for that, plus the growth of everything else, a lot more coming up very soon. And it's all because of your support. So thank you. 2021, welcome. We are here. We made it. It's already coming off with a rocky start, but you know what?
Is it better than 2020?
Well, 2020 didn't start out bad, if you remember it.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere, a few
I thought
months
it
in.
did.
What was
Remember
the
we
first
had
part then?
In
we had
January?
the World War III, and then we had some other stuff.
Not in
Yeah, but-
January, though. It all
but,
went
bro, we're
downhill when
5
Kobe
days-
passed away.
Yeah,
That's like that was
I
like the
think, in,
first, and then it February, and then it just like slowly got worse.
yeah, but this just right off the bat, it's like, yo, let's get it
So
right
the sequel
now.
is worse than the main one.
Yeah, but forget all that. How are you guys adjusting back to? Do you ever have this sort of like holiday mindset where there's basically starting from October, it starts going into like all of these holidays coming up and so many functions and just preparing for different things going on, and then once the new year comes, there's like nothing. And
Yeah.
then you have to like get back in the routine of things. Like, are you guys adjusted already, or how does that usually go for you?
So, as you guys know, I have kids in the house, so they like kids thrive off of holidays, and the next holiday is what we like base our lives around. So, as soon
Like
as
all
Halloween,
holidays?
yeah, so like
Okay.
when Halloween came around, the kids bought costumes. They bought multiple costumes. Then Halloween ended. They got the sale costumes. And they started looking forward to Thanksgiving. So like they're like asking me like, what happens at Thanksgiving? I'm like, there's turkey, there's family, there's like gratefulness and all this stuff. They're like, okay, cool. Then the day after Thanksgiving, okay, now what's next? Okay, it's gonna be Christmas. And then the day of Christmas.
What is
what's
it from
next?
this point?
New
It's like
Year.
Valentine's Day?
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day.
What do you
and
guys
so
do?
Then they were like, they're like, what's next? I was like, Valentine's Day. They're like, oh, it's like next week. And I'm like, no, it's like a month and a half away, but we have birthdays and stuff. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? And as a kid, you just draw hearts and like hand them out. But they don't even have school to pass out the
yeah.
like
Dang.
Valentine's Day
They can
candies.
swipe on Tinder. Just get the kids.
But yeah,
You can literally make up your own holidays. That's what the others are too. You could just be like, oh, guess what? Tomorrow's Spider-Man Day. And they could just
every day is
dress
Spider-Man
up.
Day in this house.
Yeah, we don't want that, bro. That's too much.
I think there is this energy of starting off the new year with like this almost feeling of like, oh, I get to start over, whatever it might be, like my routine and stuff. And I do fall into the trap of that. I think I'm definitely like, all right, here we go. Like, let me get my routine. And it does start off really good. And then you basically forget it at some point. Like, I don't know if it's a few weeks in or a few months in, but I'm still going pretty strong on just being like, productive and staying with the routine. So we'll see how long it goes. But it's definitely like the first couple of days, I do feel like where'd everyone go? Like, what now?
Yeah. You know what's weird? I was watching the ball drop. I don't know if this has been a thing, but everything was like on TV. Everything was branded with Planet Fitness.
Yeah, I think they sponsored it.
Like, has that ever happened before?
Yeah, definitely. I guess it works like a Super Bowl commercial or something like that, where
but like
different companies were sponsoring.
Yeah, but I think like Planet Fitness is like perfect because everyone wants to go to the gym January 1st. Everyone's like, oh, my New Year's resolution is going to be to either lose weight or gain weight. And I'm
Gyms
like...
are terrible the first 2 weeks.
Like, it's just the worst. Like, are you having...
And COVID isn't getting any better either, so...
Yeah.
I don't know if people are going to the gyms.
And they've been really branding
they
it.
are.
Like...
It's
so,
like there's like, but usually like, you know, like a peak time will have like, you know, a certain amount of parking lot, and then during the first week of January it quadrupled, and I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna go here. I'm gonna go to my yoga studio where I can be alone in a room and practice, like, or just like corner myself off. But those people are annoying, but it's fun having new faces.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's people that, you know, get into it in the beginning and then you see who lasts or whatever. One of the things that I was looking into was just like, you know, other ways to make money. I think there's so many ways to make money nowadays, and they keep growing. And we were actually, I think Shamir, you were with us. We were getting food from somewhere, and this guy pulled up, and I think his passenger stayed in the car, and then he came and got his Doordash, and then went back in. And I started thinking of, or like Shamir brought this up, but like of Doordash dates. So imagine like you are a Doordash driver, right? Mm-hmm. And Shamir said with the homies. So take this as either with like the homies or like a date.
Yeah.
Would you mind getting in the car with somebody doing their Doordash thing if you're just like looking to hang out with someone, whether it be like on a date or just like a friend or friends? Amber, you're already cringing.
No.
You don't want to see your man at work?
I think it's more like cute if you guys like do the work together and like split the profits.
Split the profit. Now you're doing business with your girlfriend or boyfriend.
I think that's what families do. That's what like...
You're not a family, bro. You're just going out. You're just splitting profits.
The car we saw was a guy and a girl.
Yeah.
And the girl was getting the food. And I was like, yo, that's so dope. Imagine like homies did that. And we're just like hanging out as a squad, like racking in dough. And we're like, yo, you get this, you get this.
Because you have the choice of sitting in the basement.
Too. They do that with like their girlfriends or like
What's
their
that?
homies. They'll like, you know, like especially during the pandemic where people were ordering their food online, like through a shopping cart for grocery stores. And then you would go into the grocery store like with whoever you're doing it with, like go to the grocery store, like get the stuff and then like kind of make a day out of it and both be making money. But I don't know. I feel like
that's not cute to you?
Listen. I think that when you're like in love enough, like you'll just want to see your man's at any time. And if I guess in a scenario that my man's is doing DoorDash and I was like really, really wanted to spend time with him, I guess I would, but I feel uncomfortable saying that.
That sounds so fun to me because one, all right, if you're just hanging out with somebody and you're just like in the room or in the basement or whatever, just chilling, you're just sitting there and you're like on your phones and you're just hanging out and, you know, maybe you'll put on a movie or something, but going on a drive alone is fun enough. But now either you or that other person is making money during it and it's like, it's productive. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I guess I'm still in the mindset that like just be productive all the time and like no time for love. So maybe that's why I'm saying it. But I don't know.
Bring productivity and love together.
because you're not like focused on like, oh, I have to like write up something, or you're just driving places, picking, like it does not interfere with the conversation at all. Actually, I have a friend who like calls me while he's door dashing sometimes to discuss like certain things. And I'll ask like, cause occasionally he'll be like, oh, are you Chuck? Here you go. And then he'll be like, sorry, man, what's up? And then but it doesn't interfere with anything. It's just like, he's doing his thing. And I'm just here, like I'm, you know, on the computer. I'm not doing anything that's intensive on like, requires me to focus in that way. It's kind of like I'm designing so I can talk. But it's like cool to me. And especially sitting in the car, going on a drive. I don't know. I just thought it was
Go for it, Frost. Nobody's stopping you.
I mean,
Dude, like I said, with the homies, we all like split profits. That sounds so fun.
Listen, you're not making enough money on Doordash to be splitting profits. By the time you guys buy lunch, it's
yeah, I don't know
gone.
about all that. Like
No,
five people
but you're
deep in
hanging
the
out
car.
anyways, right? You're hanging out, you're not doing anything, right? You're probably playing video games, whatever, as guys. But let's like make, $3-4 per each. Like, that sounds
If you
fun.
think you're
And
making
I don't know,
$3-4
man. $3-4
each, you're not making $3-4 each per drive.
You're
The only place we can go is Fariha's Falafels.
Listen,
No,
when
but
I did
you wanna,
DoorDash for
you wanna
I did
hang
DoorDash
out with
for 1
somebody
week.
for free. You want to hang
For
out with
3
someone
days.
for free, right? You could just split the profits, like, just for fun. And you're like...
Okay, to give you
Nah,
perspective,
I don't like that because now you're coming into their work and you want to hang out with them.
We do it mutually, not like, oh, I'm helping you, right? Like, it's
I think
fun
that's a
doing it
weird
with homies.
thing.
Bro,
I
you
think-
thought of this because we brought up the homies thing.
Yeah, but I don't like the whole splitting. Like, I'll join you on your journey while you're making your money.
We can do that too. But, right, I'm just saying, like, as homies, though, that would be lit, right? Imagine, like, making, doing business together, whatever, like, as homies, and you're just hanging out, chilling.
I got you. It's just not enough. Like, I agree with Amber. It's just not enough to, like...
I'm trying to tell
do all
you,
that.
per delivery, on average, it's about $6 you're getting.
Were you doing math on the side?
No, I was telling my mom not to be loud. But when you, like, DoorDash, remember I did for, like, 3 days, and per delivery, you get about $6 per delivery, and it takes, like, an hour. You can probably
Per
get two
delivery?
deliveries. No, you can probably get 2 deliveries done in 1 hour. So you're making less than minimum wage. Plus, you're using your gas. Plus, you're putting wear and tear on your car. It's not worth the $12 an
Yeah,
hour.
don't DoorDash.
The whole concept is, like, joining somebody in
their thing.
in their thing that
Oh,
doesn't take away from what they're doing. I literally have friends that they travel the world because they work for the same like travel company, and they just like sit down and like find Wi-Fi wherever and like do their work in that time, and then the rest of the time they just spend traveling.
Why don't we do that?
The reason I brought up the splitting profits because my friend's mom, she actually does it with her daughter, and that's how they make money
That's
together.
a family thing.
Yeah.
That's cute.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Weird times, and this is the types of different work that's out there, like I was saying. But let's get weirder. We have a guest on today that is a flat earther,
Okay.
and before you turn this off completely, we just want to say that we are going into this the same mindset that you might be, and that's just curiosity as far as what this is all about, and where this is supposed to go, right? So we don't want to come in as scientists or anything like that, but
What do you
we're
mean?
just
I'm
interested
against
in
you. I'm
having.
a flat earther.
Amber is a flat earther, so
I'm a flat earther, guys. Like, what do you mean? I'm on his side.
So we'll see where the conversation goes, but we definitely want to just hear him out. And this is Strange Flavors, and he is the stranger today, even if he's a flat earther. So everybody, please welcome David Weiss. Under an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to talk very fast.
See how it goes. Oh man, are you drinking coffee right now?
Bedtime tea.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Why do I feel like you're about to unleash this like hailstorm on us?
No. So I
guys
like
gotta
that.
see this.
You can no. You can tell me. You don't have to tell me until we start. I love keeping it a surprise. I just like to know whether you guys are ballers or flat earthers. I
Ballers?
prefer
Ballers.
Yeah,
I mean,
I prefer
I'd
talking
be
to
ballin'.
ballers.
I'd be balling. I'm not
I
gonna
prefer
lie.
talking. My favorite interviews are people that think flat Earth is the dumbest shit on Earth. Am I allowed
Okay,
to
that's
swear?
me. That's me.
I don't.
I think it's.
I don't-
Yeah, you can swear.
Okay.
I- Let's keep it frank. Let's
keep
keep it real. I think flat
Okay.
Earth is the dumbest shit on Earth.
Wait.
Nice.
I'll
You're
retweet
recording.
that.
Wait, you guys are recording,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
We're recording.
yes. I'll retweet that because I want to believe you because I failed so many exams, so engineering exams. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that you're right, and so that I can go back and be like, all right, you were bullshitting. This is wrong. So
I feel
All
like
right, I'm going to
what
guarantee
I
this.
see-
Your highest rated show. This is going to be your highest rated podcast. You're going to get the most amount of
Okay.
flack, and you're going to invite me
Oh my
back
God.
before the hour's over.
Oh my god!
Okay, I like this challenge.
Okay.
All right,
But
right off the bat,
Wait,
is your background?
you guys know what a Bitcoin is, right?
yeah.
Bitcoin. crypto. I have a Bitcoin for anybody that can come up with one globe proof when we're done.
Okay.
All right.
Damn.
What about my background?
This is coming in so hot already. I was going to say, I think I see a little curve in your background.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
see
little
any
looks kind of curvy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's set this up before we get into it. Obviously, you guys know that we're talking to David Weiss, who is a flat earther. You identify as a flat earther, yeah?
Sure.
What was the term? Ballers and what?
Ballers and flat earthers.
Yeah.
Oh, so
okay.
flat earthers is not a rude term.
Some people think it's weaponized, but sure. Some people rather be called true earthers.
Okay. First of all, I need to know, and this is okay if you are, but are you a troll or doing this for attention?
Oh, absolutely not. Nobody becomes a flat earther. Hey, nobody wakes up and says, hey, I'm going to become a flat earther today, because it comes with scorn and ridicule and attitude. But
Well, some people like that.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
but
right
that's
off
what
the
trolls
bat,
are.
you came in with, oh, this is going to get this many views. So I don't know. I'm just
All
saying.
right.
I'm just saying.
No, I am not. This is this is the real deal, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So be careful.
Dang.
Okay, I'm in. I'm ready for you to, give us everything you have.
I want to know, when did this start?
So I used to do a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, where we looked into all sorts of deceptions in the world. And we did it for 3 years, a weekly show out of New York City. And in the third year, some fans started sending me in clips like on our social media. Hey, Dave, have you looked into the flat earth? Hey, check this video out. And like any smart person would do, I would delete those comments and ban them from our social media for being so stupid. And then finally one day I was speaking with a trusted researcher that I'm friends with, and she said, Dave, I think the earth might be flat. And I absolutely flipped out on her. And I said, Seth, what do you got? Let me look at this. And I went into it with a bias. And the bias was to prove the flat earth is stupid and to prove the globe. And for 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. I mean, very little sleep. And I was trying to find a proof of the globe. And I was trying to disprove flat earth. At the end of the 2 weeks, I came out the other side. I'm like, holy crap. The earth is not a spinning globe. This was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
This was 6 years ago.
Okay, so you're an adult man.
I'm an adult man.
You said that you
yes.
already were diving into conspiracies on this show?
So don't try to say, well, you're into conspiracies, you're looking for things. I'm into truth, and I don't have a dog in the pony in the race here. I don't care what shape the earth is. I just want to know the truth. And when you find out the truth, it's liberating, and you guys are going to quickly get to the point. You're going to go, well, why the lie? Why would they do all of this? Because as I destroy every proof that you guys come up with that you think you have, and by the way, this was me. I was you guys not that long ago. You're going to throw your hands up and go, well, why would they lie? Let's save that for the end, because that's the best part. I'll present the motive after I completely lay out my case. All right.
Okay,
So
at
just
this
to
point,
confirm,
Go ahead.
you were into conspiracies when you were approached with this flat earth theory.
Yeah, I was into conspiracies, so that means I have an open mind to look at things, and I wouldn't open my mind to this. This one is too stupid. We've been programmed that we live on a spinning ball before we could talk. You probably had a mobile over your crib of the solar system, and then they put you down in front of the TV in Sesame Street. It's all ball programming, and every movie and every space movie and every cartoon, it's all about living on a ball. And then we have NASA and JAXA and all of the space agencies. All of it is part of the lie.
To get a grasp of how much you're into this and how often you talk about this. I mean, we were dealing with you have like a management team or something like that, and
no, I have one person,
Okay.
a fan who I don't even know their real name, who reaches out to shows like yours to help me reach out, because I'm on a lot of shows where it's always flat earthers. So I'm talking to couple thousand flat earthers. I present at flat earth conferences, but that's called preaching to the choir. I'd rather
what are
talk.
flat earth conferences? Where do these take place?
We had them in Denver, in Texas, in South Carolina, in North Carolina. We were going to do one in Vegas, but that got canceled because of COVID. And they're all over the world. They're in New Zealand, in Europe.
Is
real
this like
conferences.
Is this like your life mission, or like how involved are you on a daily basis in all this?
So I used to work in corporate America. I worked for a solar power company, and then I started my own solar development company, commercial solar development company with a couple partners, and I was doing really well, and I was making a healthy 6-figure salary, and I was my own boss. So I was. My dream had come true, and then I was doing the podcast. I found out the Earth was flat. I got into it more and more, and then we can talk about the app a little bit later.
Wait, why was that such a life-changing? The Earth is flat. I got to quit everything. What?
It changes everything. It's not the shape of the Earth. It's the reason for the lie, and we're going to save that for the end. All right, let me. I can't tell you the motive until I show you that the crime was committed. Okay.
Whoa, there's a crime now.
Well, yes, this is a massive crime, and this is, do you? Let me ask you guys a question. Do you believe that governments are corrupt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they don't have the sheeple's best interest in mind, right? I'm calling us sheeple because we are sheeple to them.
Sure.
So this lie is how they maintain their power. I'll give you that hint.
Agreed.
We'll just go there. So once you understand the lie, at these conferences, we had one in October this year, or October of last year, and there was 450 people. It was a small conference, and everybody was awake and aware, and the greatest group of people ever, and all people that have really reclaimed their power. So let's get into some of the reasons why you guys think it's a ball.
Hold on.
Take it wherever you want.
You went to a flat Earth conference, you're saying,
Yeah.
and then they were all nice people. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, it has a lot to do with it. Again, let's save that for the end. Let's go. Let's find out why you guys believe we live on a ball.
We are on David's podcast today.
Yeah, are you going to answer any of our questions?
I will answer all your questions except that one.
I feel like you're tossing us this rope, and then you're like, "Come with me down this alley," and I get to control the conversation.
All right.
This is
I'll take. You know what?
Walking in one direction.
We can. You guys are smart because the smart people get right to that question. The question is why would they lie? So I'll tell you why they lie, but we're kind of going backwards. It's not as fun, but I'll do it. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So you guys believe that we live in a heliocentric world, right? So do you know how fast the Earth is spinning?
Look, he's got the PowerPoint going.
Wow.
No, not a
look at
PowerPoint.
that.
I'm just showing. See,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's ballers, you guys.
Yes.
Not a negative term.
Wait, I didn't say I'm a baller.
All right. Well, people that believe that they live on a planet have two things in common. One, they don't know what flat Earth is. Okay. And the two, they don't know what the heliocentric model is either. I know more about the heliocentric, the ball model, than most people that think they live on a ball. Because once you understand what the heliocentric model is, you realize how absolutely and completely ridiculous it is.
Okay, in what way?
So, do you know how fast the Earth is spinning, apparently? I didn't when I was asked these questions. It's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So that means when you're watching the sunset, you believe that you're on the top of a ball and you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. And that's making the sun appear to set because you're on a spinning ball dropping 5 or 10 miles a minute over the curve, and that's making the sun appear to go down. While you're doing that, you're orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. So if this is the sun, you're going faster and slower and faster and slower in this big ellipse, 66,600 miles an hour. Funny number. And then while you're doing that, you're chasing the sun. You're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. And the entire system's going sideways at 1.2 to 2.2 million miles per hour.
But
I forgot to
isn't
say
the
at the
Earth's
beginning.
mass so huge that we won't be able to feel that?
So
gravity.
So these are pre-programmed responses, and I had the same. You're going to say
Yeah.
all the things that I originally said, but during this conversation, I'm going to say some crazy, insane things, right?
Okay.
And I'm also going to say some things that, well, that makes sense. That's really sensible. And what you're going to notice, the crazy, insane things are all about the heliocentric model, and the the things that make sense are going to be about the flat Earth model.
Well, just tell us then, because I don't
So,
like
so
being
I'm-
told that
right.
I'm going to be
No,
feeling
I'm
some
just,
type of way.
I'm just letting you know.
Let me make that decision.
Okay, no problem. So all of those motions I told you, all of those things are happening. You know, you're spinning and twirling and whirling and going. If you were in a car and holding a dinner plate and you're going on a perfectly straight, smooth road and at 100 miles an hour and somebody poured an inch of water on that plate, no problem. But if you took a turn in that car, you know, what would happen to the water? Wouldn't it slosh? Does this water look like it's sloshing? Right? All of those motions, and we can build, rock towers that balance perfectly. But and these motions we're going on, they're all turning. Turning is acceleration. So if you're in an airplane and it starts turning, you notice the turn. Or if it starts descending, you notice the descent. But if you're going in a straight path, okay, you could drink your water and whatnot, but when you start making these turns, that's acceleration. And we have perfectly glass lakes,
But even in a plane, when you're going that fast, like the fact that we're really going that fast in space, you feel it even. But the thing is, you would feel yourself going that fast in a car, for example. You'd feel it even more when you're walking or running. Sure. So obviously, when you have the bigger the transportation that you're in, you're gonna feel it less.
He's saying the turn thing. So I'm.
Yeah, but even in an airplane,
in a plane though, you do feel if the plane is turning. I'll give you that.
Yeah, right. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priest of scientism, says that because of centrifugal force, the equator bulges 14 miles high. 14 miles high. He goes, but that's so insignificant with the size of the Earth that you wouldn't notice it from space. That's why all the pictures look round. But 14 miles high, an airplane only travels 5 miles high. So if an airplane's traveling from the north to the south, when does it climb that extra 10 miles to get over the equator? And the answer is never, because airplanes fly straight and level over the Earth plane.
Okay, so real quick, I would argue that, when it comes to scales, when you're taking a turn in a car, you feel it much more than in an airplane.
That's what I was saying, is that if it's on a Earth and it's turning, you wouldn't feel it at all, because what is a plane to the Earth?
The scale, exactly.
Right. So you're okay that the Earth is spinning, twirling, whirling, and we have lakes that stay perfectly flat and don't slosh, even though they say that centrifugal force builds a water wall 14 miles high at the equator, but we can have lakes like this.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I don't have a reason not to, like how you're explaining it, like are you okay with that? Yeah. I don't have a reason
okay
not to be not okay with that. Like I don't understand why that affects me besides what you're getting at, which is like finding the real truth.
We'll take it one thing at a time, and as we go, it'll build up. So that's what the heliocentric model is, and this is what the flat Earth model is. So what the flat Earth model is, it's not a disk in space. If you Google flat Earth, you're gonna get pictures like this, of a disk in space. We're not a disk in space. It's not what the flat Earth is. Think of the flat Earth as the basement of the universe, okay? What is a puddle? A puddle is water where water accumulates at the low spot in the land, right? You have a little rainstorm, you have a puddle, and the edge of the puddle is where the land is higher than the water. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
So a pond is just a bigger puddle. A lake is just a bigger pond. So imagine a lake with some islands in it. Islands are land that's higher than the water surface, and the edge of the lake is higher than the water, and it contains the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So now think of all of the world's oceans as a giant lake. And the land that surrounds the outside of the lake is the highest land on Earth, and that's what we call Antarctica. Antarctica isn't a continent at the bottom of a ball. It's the edge of the world lake, and it's the highest land on Earth. If you took a boat anywhere in the world, to any country, to any island, you can just get off the boat and walk into town, no problem. But if you took a boat to Antarctica, you can't just walk onto Antarctica, because Antarctica is 200 feet over your head. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth, and we live in the Antarctic puddle or the Antarctic basin, right? So
can you go past?
Yeah, what's beyond
Antarctica?
What's beyond Antarctica? Well, we'll get into that in a second. Antarctica is the outer edge of the world, and it's completely off limits. So in 1957, they put up the Antarctic Treaty, which says that no human, no corporation, no person, nobody is allowed to explore past this pink line, which is 60 degrees south. Okay, that's hundreds of miles from Antarctica, and no one's allowed to take any fuel beyond there. Okay, there's no independent exploration, and nobody can even question the treaty until the year 2041. Okay?
Is that because it's supposed to melt more by then?
No, because they did it for environmentalism reasons, and they said we must protect the penguins and we must protect the ice. Nobody could drop a cigarette out on the ice, but we can deforest the Amazon. That's fine, but nobody can go to Antarctica. Even though Admiral Byrd in the late 1950s said he found land out there bigger than America, resource rich, that no human has ever stepped foot on, and then the Antarctic Treaty was formed. All the United Nations signed on, and it's still in place until the year 2041.
Okay, real quick.
So is Earth a different shape than not even the flat Earth, but could it be a different shape? Is that what you're saying beyond
Other
Antarctica?
than a disc?
So what I'm saying is the way to look at it is the Earth is the basement of the universe. That just the basement of the universe, of our realm.
Yeah.
And we live in this puddle that's melted out with a sun and a moon that circle above it. Everything we see in the sky circles above it, and it's melted out this pond.
Yeah.
And this is where we live. And everything we see in the sky is within the Earth system.
Yeah, I understand that, but there's Antarctica.
Okay.
Like, there's a landmass beyond, right?
Absolutely.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Right? So what is Antarctica and everything around that?
So think of a pond in the middle of Kansas. What is, when you're on a boat and you get to the edge of the lake or in Kansas, and you climb up on the land and you start walking. I don't know what's out there. No one's allowed to go out there. They won't tell us. They won't allow us out there, because I think if you go out there a couple thousand miles, maybe even less, that you hit a dome, that you hit the edge of our dome, the edge of our realm, where we cannot get through.
Mm-hmm. But
okay.
so then
Wait, SHAH-AMEER, can I say something real quick? I have family in different parts of the world, right? Mm-hmm. When my cousins will come from Australia, right, it would, according to this, it would be easier for them just to come straight to Maryland. That's where we are, right? But instead, they go to California first. Why would they go there if it would be quicker to just go directly to Maryland? You get what I'm saying?
So,
like they go around the other way in the concept of around Earth. They go from Australia to California, then to Maryland. You get what I'm saying?
So they go from Australia to California.
Yes.
And then because this is the plane routes that people go. They go from Western Australia all the way up to like New York, then they go all the way over and then all the way down to Santiago. That is the normal route for a flight. If you want to go to Eastern Australia, they go all the way from Santiago. You go all the way up to the United States. You go all the way over to Europe to Dubai, and then you go down. That seems like an awfully crazy thing. Why are you going all the way into the Northern Hemisphere? And the reason is because this is the plane route. This is the same route on a flat Earth. It's a straight line. So where are you guys again? Where are you guys?
In Maryland.
Maryland, East Coast.
Yeah.
East Coast of U.S.
Yeah. So I don't know why they're going from Australia to California, then to Maryland, you said?
Yeah, because it's quicker to go that way. I mean, even if you consider Japan, you would go. Where would you go from?
So Japan is.
If you want to get to Maryland, which way would you go?
I would just come across the top and go to Maryland.
Yeah, but that's not what happens.
Yeah, because
it's
no
quicker
one's allowed to
from...
go. No, no one's allowed to fly over the North Pole. That's for another reason. That's off limits to flights. So
no, but you don't have to go near the North Pole. You could just go from directly west from Japan, but instead you go east
That's the same on a flat Earth and a ball Earth. I mean, you're going from Japan to anywhere in the United States. Now, they might route you over here and then back. They might take you around because of the winds. I could show you how the winds are here. So if the winds are going this way, they'll take you around and then they'll bring you over. There's a couple different ways to do it, but these routes make no sense unless they're on a flat Earth.
So what's the flat Earth North Pole?
The flat Earth North Pole is the center. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So at the very center of the flat Earth is the magnetic north. So here's a magnet at the center, and I have a compass, and it's pointing towards the center. Now, if I want to dead reckon east 90 degrees, I have to follow that compass and make sure that keeps pointing at the north. So when I'm dead reckoning 90 degrees, it's a circle. It's not a straight line because that north has to always point towards the center. So east and west are circles. All right. This is going to be very interesting. East and west are circles equidistant from the center north. That's the same on a ball Earth and a flat Earth. If I try to go in a straight line, like now I'm going to dead reckon east. If I go in a straight line and I don't keep turning, I'm immediately going south. Okay. And I'm heading to Antarctica. And that actually works the same on a ball also. What you can't do on a flat Earth is go south and then pop up on the other side. Like I can't go south away from the center and then pop up over here like I should on a ball. And nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever gone from Santiago south and popped up in Australia. It's never been done. You know, that
I don't know flight routes like that.
Okay.
I was just saying from my experience, and I also want to make sure that the audio listeners, are getting what's going on. So, let's hit some other topics if you don't mind.
Just one last thing.
Sure.
From Santiago is at the bottom of the ball, and Australia is at the bottom of the ball on the other side. The quickest route would be across Australia, or just across Antarctica, or just stay off the coast of Antarctica and come around. But they go all the way up in the north, and if you look at it on a flat Earth map, it's a straight line.
Okay.
Good. Next topic.
Okay.
But we don't do that, is what you're saying.
No, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever gone across Antarctica and popped up on the other side of the world because you can't, because the Earth is flat.
Okay, and I wish I was a scientist.
You don't have to be a scientist. You have to just have common sense.
Wait, Frost, what's your next question?
Well, I was gonna talk about some space and moon stuff.
Oh yeah, okay, that's where I was going.
So, what do you think about the moon landing?
So the moon landings are, for anybody that takes any time to look into it, they're provably fake. Would you like me to show you? I mean, I can tell you, and I'll describe it.
If you could tell us, and then maybe show us as like a
So when we went to the moon, think about the moon on a full moon night. When you're away from any lights, the moon is bright enough to cast shadows on the ground. You can read by it. It's casting light, and when you look at the full moon on a full moon night, it's lit evenly edge to edge.
What is it, by the way, for you, a moon?
What is the moon?
Yeah.
Well, nobody knows, because nobody knows on a flat Earth or a ball Earth. I mean, you guys think it's a rock falling around the Earth with gravity, with the Earth holding onto it, while the Earth falls around the sun. And even when the moon gets in between the Earth and the sun never pulls the moon out of orbit or even perturbs it a little bit. Because somehow the magic of gravity from the sun only holds onto the Earth. It's absolute nonsense when you actually think about it. But when you have a single source light lighting up a sphere, it lights up a hot spot and then the edges fade out. But when you look at a full moon, it's bright edge to edge. It's its own light. Now, if you're in the sunlight out in the day, it's hot. And if you get in the shade, it's cool. Did you know that when there's a full moon, if you're in the moonlight, it's cold. And if you go in the shade, it's warmer. And if you magnify moonlight, it gets colder. Just like when you magnify sunlight, it gets hotter. It's a different light. It's not reflecting light. And we could also prove that it's not reflecting light, because if you remember, think of the pictures of the guys on the moon, on the daylit side of the moon. It was a dusty, dirty ball. There's a thing called...
sorry, do they turn off parts of the moon for lunar eclipses then?
So that's a silly question. And the
Come on, SHAH-AMEER, you dumbass.
No, he's just trying to be funny. I get it. I mean, this is funny because I am going to. Unfortunately, this is a hard thing because I'm basically ripping the foundation of your world beliefs out from underneath you once you see this. So,
yeah, it's making me very insecure.
Right. So there's a thing called the inverse square law of light. Every time you half the distance to a light, it gets 4 times brighter. It's not that complicated. So imagine you're looking at the moon, and it's probably like 20 lumens. A lumen is amount of light, just a measurement of light. But let's give the moon every benefit of the doubt. You're looking at the full moon, and we'll call it 1 lumen. The moon is 238,000 miles away. If you go halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens because it's 4 times brighter. If you cut that distance in half, it's 16 lumens. Cut that in half, it's 64 lumens. And you keep doing that until you're 100 miles away, where the astronauts supposedly took a picture of this dusty, dirty gray ball, and it would be something like 10 million lumens. That would melt your eyeballs. But that's not what we see. We see a dusty, dirty ball, and somehow it has this amazing light that lights up the Earth. It's nonsense once you dig into it.
Now, what's the concept of the other planets?
Wait. Sorry.
Yeah.
I still didn't get my answer of the lunar eclipse, I guess.
Okay, so the lunar eclipse is, we're told that only a sphere Earth can cause the lunar eclipse because it's a perfect curve that comes
because
in.
It's blocking the sun's light.
Well, this is what you're told. But
that's what I'm told. Yeah. I'm just explaining for the audience.
I'm gonna prove to you that it's not the Earth that's doing it. There's two proofs. Okay, so a lunar eclipse is lined up for people that are unsure. You have the sun on the right side, you have the moon on the left side, and then the Earth, when it moves in between, it casts a shadow on the moon. So first, to cast a shadow 238,000 miles onto the dusty, dirty ball, to see a perfect shadow, that's impossible because shadows disperse over short distances and they don't form a fine line. If you held a ball with a light and tried to cast a shadow on a wall 10 feet away, you're barely going to see the shadow of the ball unless the light is right next to the ball. So that's not the proof I'm going for. So when you cast a shadow of a ball onto another ball, it doesn't come in with that perfect curve. It comes in as a tight ellipse. It spreads out, and then it leaves as a tight ellipse. But that's not even the proof I'm going for.
Doesn't that depend on where the light is coming from? And
well, the light is coming. These are 3 things in a line, right? So you have the sun, you have the moon, and then the Earth has to come up in between them.
But the moon is also really close to the sun, so that's why.
No, it's not. It's not. It's 238,000 miles away from the Earth, and the sun is 93 million miles away.
So relatively, it's really close from the moon and the Earth, from the sun and Earth, right? You said 93 million miles away, right? The sun.
The difference between, the Earth and the moon are 238,000 miles away.
And then how
the sun
far
is
are the Earth
93 million miles away.
So
farther.
relatively, right? We're shining a light on an object. The moon and Earth are really close to each other.
Sure, you want to look at it that way, but here's the problem.
And that's with the shadow thing, right?
Here's the problem. So you got the sun, and then you have the moon, and then you have the ball in the middle. So the ball's in the middle. So you're on the ball, and you're waiting for the eclipse to start, and you can see the sun off to your left and the moon off to your right. Both of them are above the horizon. So the eclipse hasn't started because wherever you are, you're on the top of the ball, and so they're both above the horizon. But this is called a Seleninian eclipse. There's over 50 of them that are documented, where the eclipse will start before either one of them goes below your horizon, which means that it's not the Earth in the middle. And on the top of that, the shadow, or if that's what it is, comes in from the top, not from the bottom, because the Earth is coming up. It should cast a shadow on the bottom, but the eclipse comes in from the top. So it's not even a shadow that you're seeing. It's a darkening of the moon. We don't know what it is. There's Vedic cosmology that talk about Rahu and Ketu, dark bodies and stuff. I don't know. Anything above our head or beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation.
Yeah. So basically,
but we can scientifically prove that it's not the Earth doing it because we can see the sun and the moon above the Earth when the eclipse starts. So it's not the Earth. What is it? We can speculate all day.
Okay, so also we have stars in space, right? And when you're on Earth, at different parts you can see different constellations, and you won't see certain stars and all of that, right?
Yeah.
According to the flat Earth, you should see all of them, correct? Or
Nope.
do we not know what stars are either?
Well, that's 2 questions there. The first assumption was wrong, but this is a star that I'm showing here. Doesn't look like anything that we're talking, but we're not going to talk about that because we have listeners. So imagine yourself in a room, of just a big empty room, 10-foot high ceilings. There's lights in the ceiling, and we'll call those lights the stars. You with me? So we're all in this room together. And now let's expand that room to 10 miles wide. Okay? And now you go 5 miles away from me, right? You look up, you're going to see different stars than I see. I look up, I'm going to see different stars than you see. I'm going to look for you. I'm not even going to be able to see you because the ceiling and the floor will have merged into perspective and you'll be beyond my eyes' ability to see because you can't see a 10-foot space 5 miles away, right? That's just an example. So think of the flat Earth as a flat room with a ceiling with stars. So when you get far enough away, the north is the inner circle. We are,
but the stars are like so much further than a room. It's
the Earth is much bigger than a room too. The stars are very close. They're within the Earth system. They're not millions of miles away. They're literally right above the clouds.
Like in the solar system?
No, there is no solar system.
Okay.
All right. So with our consumer electronics can zoom in on stars, and they look nothing like what we're told. They look like cymatic patterns of colors and frequencies, and they're small, and they're within the Earth system.
So is the sun a
What are
star
they?
or no?
So the sun, we believe that the sun and the moon that we see are just the reflections of the real sun and the moon, which are above the firmament. They're being projected into the sky screen.
So
and
the moon is not in our dome?
The moon that we see is within our dome. And it sure looks spherical to me, but that doesn't mean it's spherical. That means it looks spherical. If you look at, you could look at things that look like spheres, but they're not spheres, right?
Okay.
So the moon, when we have a new moon, right? We have a new moon. Once the moon goes new, which is the last phase, the last waning crescent disappears, nobody has ever seen the moon in less than like 42 hours. It's almost 2 full days. High-flying aircraft, NASA has never been able to spot it. People with infrared telescopes have not been able to see it. It is not there. Nobody can see it, and it should be lit because if you're on the moon, on the facing side of the Earth during a new moon, and you're looking at the Earth, you have a full Earth, like a full moon. And the Earth is 6 times bigger and a lot brighter, shinier than the moon. So it should be, Earth shine should light up the moon 6 times more than the moon lights up the Earth. So we should be able to see it. No one's ever seen it. Again, the moon is one of the biggest mysteries. But if you want to prove the shape of the Earth, we should talk about the things that are underneath our feet that we can prove.
Okay, so this is from NRAO. It says, even though the stars that we see in the night sky are all very far away, we can see them not by actually being able to resolve their sizes, but by measuring the light that they produce. The light from a star is sent out in all directions and is largely unimpeded in its path from the star to us, as on average there is very little matter to block the star's light between the star and us.
So that's a false assumption. First, you're assuming that it's far away, and you're assuming that the inverse square law of light isn't a law of physics, and it is. Shining a light through a vacuum, it doesn't matter. It still is an energy wave, and just like a sound wave, decreases over time. So that's just pseudoscience that we were taught, and none of that is actually true. I mean, when we go up, we send balloons up 120,000 feet, and the sun is never above the balloon. It's always right off to the side, kind of like it's right there and not 93 million miles away. And when we see the moon, we did a rocket. If you watch NASA rocket launches, they go up, they curve out to sea, and then they disappear within a minute. They're out of fuel, and we're just watching a cartoon on television. I mean, on what they're showing us. They're not showing us what's really going on. But in Arizona,
so then you just don't. I mean, they do show us, right? If you're saying they don't show us, like that guy Scott Kelly, who's the astronaut that would literally be tweeting from space and showing pictures and all of that.
Yeah.
So you just don't buy it. It's not that they're not showing us.
We're going to go into that next, and I'll show you that Scott Kelly is a liar. So these guys in Arizona shot up this rocket, and it went up 73 miles straight up, and then all of a sudden it hit something. It went into something like liquid. It sounded like a stone being dropped into a lake. It went kerplunk, and then it started floating, and then when it turned on its side, it could see the moon. All of a sudden it could see the moon. There was the moon that it could see. It's like, okay, cool, it could see the moon. But then we checked where the moon was when that took off, off, and then the moon was over Australia, and that's straight through the Earth. But somehow a rocket at 73 miles high could see the moon over Australia at the same time.
So this is what it made like a digitized video, or
No,
what?
no. This the video I'm showing you is called the Go Fast rocket. This was an actual rocket. This is just a short clip of the footage, and I sped it up a little bit to show you. But this is a rocket that actually went up and saw that. So, what was the other question that we were going to hit?
So wait, are you saying that the moon that was over Australia was not like? Oh,
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry,
it was
I didn't
over.
connect.
The moon is over Australia. Fact. But we were able to see it from over Arizona. So if the Earth was a ball
it
you
would be on the
couldn't
other
see
side.
through the ball. But if the Earth was flat, it makes perfect sense. So that I put that in the flat Earth column. We'll give them a check mark over there. Okay.
Okay, so you were talking about Scott Kelly.
Scott Kelly and all of those liars. I'm going to call them liars.
Let's just put it all into satellites and all of that, those pictures and videos that we get.
Okay, so should we start with photos of Earth?
Start with wherever you like.
Yeah, so NASA admits they have no photos of Earth. They have two photos from 2012 and 2020 or whatever, where the size of the countries don't even match up. You know, the first one has a country, this big, and the next one it's twice the size. Even though it's tilted back and it should be smaller, they make no sense. When you look at where are the rest of the if you look at it, like, where are the rest of the continents? They all have to be on the other side. It makes absolutely no sense. These are paintings.
You're saying that NASA admitted that they have no real pictures of Earth?
Yeah,
that's because, so what they're saying is that NASA doesn't have one picture of Earth. NASA has a bunch of different pictures that they put together to make what would be the Earth, because you can't take a picture of the Earth in one snapshot.
I'm on the Independent right now. It says NASA releases first picture of the whole Earth.
Right, but those are still put together pictures. There's no one picture of
NASA
it.
admits
I see.
they have a guy named Robert Simmons from NASA did an interview, and he said that he created it on the computer, where he added clouds and whatnot. And if you look at the 2012 picture, it shows the United States, and then it's like 90% of the rest of the land is supposed to be on the other side of that ball. It makes no sense when you look at it, and NASA admits that they're not photos. So yes, you're looking at paintings.
Well,
so
also the stretched out 2D picture, right? It has to be stretched out if you're converting from 3D to 2D.
Well, no, I'm sure, but the if you look at the land, they're supposedly all proportionate of what size the land masses are. Once you look at it and you understand that there's none of that works, but. Let's get off of pictures. Let's just look at evidence. Now, we have the space station. We see those guys up there flipping their stuff around, right? But
floating water,
playing, just playing games
Screw
all the time.
No gravity.
Right. Yeah. So they do all sorts of crazy stuff where they're showing us, where they try to show us, they do it in zero-G planes. One of the ways they do it, and on the image I'm showing you right now, a guy's going around the corner, and there is no corners on a zero-G plane, so he fades out. You can see through him as he goes around the corner. That just shows you that there's CGIing. You could see through the astronaut. And other times, they're playing with things, and they're manipulating stuff in space. It's called alter. What's the name of it? It's augmented reality, where they're manipulating computer objects. So they're looking either with contact lenses or they're looking at a screen, and they're maneuvering objects around. And so we had an astronaut up there who was doing a presentation for kids, and she reaches up for the stuffed animal, and they beamed it in. Literally, it just appeared, and they even made a little Star Trek beaming noise. It's insane. So if you watch, she reaches up and she grabs this thing that just beamed in. It wasn't there. That's not real. Okay? It's not real. She's just playing with a virtual reality object and manipulating it in space. Another time, astronauts were just finishing up their talk, and the green screen glitched out just before they cut away.
Oh,
and
no.
And everything that was floating glitched out, and everything that wasn't floating just stayed in place. Another time, these guys were manipulating stuff, and they had a guy float by in the background, but the green screen screwed up, and we could see his harness and that he's hanging and floating through. You have to believe that this guy is floating by. He's not. He's hanging from a harness. They never show the ceiling, and they never show.
Sorry, but you said there's zero gravity planes right?
Yeah, you know what a zero gravity plane is.
Why would they have a harness?
So sometimes they're on zero gravity planes, and they can only show us for 45 seconds. They can only do that for 45 seconds, and other times they're hanging from wires, and those are for the longer interviews, okay? And they're hanging from wires, and they're playing with virtual reality. But one time, and they don't do this anymore, on the morning news, there was a special day. They were like, we're going to be able to talk to the people on the space shuttle, the space station or the shuttle, I forget. And we'll only have a short time to talk to them. Because they're only going to be in satellite communication, for like a minute. That's interesting. It's about the time a zero-G plane could come in. But while they were talking and doing their stuff and flipping their things around in the air to mesmerize everybody, all of a sudden there was something happened, and everybody slammed into the side wall, and they cut away, and they said that there was a unexpected shift in the space station, and
what was it really? They
all crashed into the wall. So what it was is, they were in a zero-G plane, and at the end of a zero-G plane flight, everybody falls to the floor. So here's the shot. I'm just showing you. They slammed into the wall, and if you watch, like, this was an unexpected slam. But if you watch the guy closest to you, he's floating. He's got two things up in the air, and he catches them with one hand, like he's done it 1,000 times. Okay. So if you look in a zero-G plane, it does this parabolic arc, and it's falling. So if I took the thing from the news and I turned it sideways, it looks exactly like the end of a parabolic flight. And if you watch this guy in the front here, he grabs that duct tape and whatever else he has with one hand like he's done it 1,000,000 times. Okay? This is the end of a parabolic flight. They got smiles on their faces. They've done it thousands of times, and they did it live, and it didn't. And it ended before they ended the cast, and they got caught.
Hit something in.
No, they said NASA said, "Oh, the space shuttle had an unexpected shift, and that's why everybody hit the wall."
He's saying the zero gravity plane it ended its.
Yeah, I know that, but in space, right? They're showing space footage. So I was like, he's saying that something happened. What did NASA say?
NASA said that there was an unexpected shift in the space station, which is also impossible because the space station is going 17,500 miles an hour and falling around the Earth. The other thing is, why does the space station fall and turn and face the bottom of it face the Earth? Why doesn't it stay and just go around without rotating like a gyro? Yeah. Because there's no such thing as a space station. There's nobody in space. Nobody's ever been to space because space doesn't exist.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you this. I know that you hinted towards not being with corporate America and different institutions, but is there anybody with what you would consider traditionally like credentials in the flat Earth community? Or is it a lot of individuals that are coming forth and saying that I'm seeking truth? You get what I mean?
There's millions of us now. There's engineers, there's pilots, there's all sorts of scientists. But
there's scientists in the flat Earth community?
Yes, but the problem is anybody that has a career in any of those astrophysics fields and airplanes, pilots, if they come out publicly, they lose their jobs. We interviewed a KLM pilot who was telling us how the Earth is absolutely flat and does not rotate, and the next day she was grounded and she's probably fired. Okay, there's the Qantas pilots tell us that in their lounges they talk about it openly, how the Earth is flat and stationary. They openly talk about it, but they can't say it publicly.
I'm so curious for this ending where we're supposed to find out what the big thing is.
Why the lie?
Are all our laws of physics accurate according to flat Earth?
Well, laws of physics, like what laws are you talking about? Gravity? Do you know that gravity is just a theory? Neil deGrasse Tyson and all of the liars say they don't know what gravity is. They don't know how it works.
So then what's keeping us on the ground?
They can't model it. All right, let's talk about gravity. Let's just quickly talk about the three-body problem. Do you guys know what the three-body problem is?
No.
So everything has gravity, we're told, and things are in orbits falling around each other. So the three-body problem is this. if you get a supercomputer, the best computer in the world, and you say, okay, I've got this model, and I've got this ball, and it's got this much gravity, and then I've got this smaller ball, it's got this much gravity, and you put them into orbit around each other, they work perfectly, and you can predict where exactly each body will be 10,000 years from now, anytime. It works perfectly. Then they say, okay, hey, we're going to stick another ball in there. We're going to put it in orbit around one of those balls, a moon, another planet, whatever. And the entire model falls apart. There's no way to predict. It becomes like a beehive, and it's totally random. However, all of the stars, all of the moons, we have like 80 bodies in our solar system alone, billions in our galaxy, and somehow we know exactly where they're all going to be. If you go out tonight and look at the stars in the sky at 10 o'clock, midnight, whatever, and do a little star chart, next year at the same night, 10 years at the same night, at the same time, those stars will be in the exact same position. We can predict eclipses because eclipses repeat every 18 years and 11 days. I think it's 11 days, 18 plus years. They repeat again and again. How do eclipses repeat? How come the stars are in the exact same position decade after decade when they shouldn't be in the same position 2 nights in a row? But they are. The sun and the moon are a perfect clock. The sun it keeps track of the days and hours, right? So the sun, I'm going to share why I talk to you. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. It goes around once every 24 hours. And the sun laps the moon once every 28 days. So the moon keeps track of the week. The moon with its phases keeps track of the weeks and the months. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days because the sky is a perfect clock. It's a 24-hour clock. You know, the controller said, hey, let's give them clocks, but let's make them go around twice so they don't figure it out. And if you put on the stars, the zodiac stars are always in the same position. They go slightly faster than the sun, and they only lap the sun once a year. That way the sun moves into each zodiac for about a month. And so the zodiac keeps track of the seasons and the years. And that's kind of how the flat earth works. And then seasons are very interesting. The way the seasons work is the sun moves in between the two tropics. The outer yellow line is called the Tropic of Capricorn, and that is on January 21st is when the sun is over that, and the outer southern land has their summer because the sun is closer to them and higher in their sky. And then in June, the sun moves all the way in to the inner circle, which is the Tropic of Cancer, and the inner north has its summer because the sun is closer. Imagine this. An airplane at 10,000 feet flies over your head, and it's high in the sky. You watch it, it's high in the sky, and as it goes away, it gets lower and lower, and it gets down to the horizon as it goes away. That's just like the sun. Now imagine that same airplane at the same height, just 10 miles to your left. Okay, 10 miles to your left. Well, guess what? It's lower in the sky, just like the sun right now is for us. It's lower in the sky because it's out south. Okay?
Okay, so is there still rotating things in your...
Yeah, the Earth doesn't move. Everything in the sky circles around us.
So are we going through space, or...?
Well, see, that's the thing. Space doesn't exist.
You keep saying this.
Yeah, well, space, they tell us space is a vacuum. You know what a vacuum is? A vacuum is no pressure, right? NASA has a vacuum chamber here on Earth, and the walls are 11 feet thick of lead, so it doesn't implode on itself when they suck all the air out of it, right? But the vacuum of space can't suck all the air away from Earth, and the only explanation a glober has is, well, gravity's holding the air down. Well, I can take a straw and point it downwards, and with the weak low-pressure system of my mouth and lungs, I can suck air or water up and away from gravity without any effort. Okay, that shows you that gravity can't hold the air down. It breaks the second law of thermodynamics. So I don't believe space is a vacuum. I believe space is water, and it has to do with the primary water system of our world. So what is gravity? Our best scientists don't know, and they make up dark matter and dark energy, which is 96% of gravity, and it still doesn't work, okay? We can't see it, we theorize it, it has to be there because gravity doesn't work without it. Well, it still doesn't work even with it. So what is gravity? Everything in this world is electric and magnetic. The only forces in this world are electric and magnetic in nature. So the Earth has a measurable electric, negative static field. The Earth is a dielectric electric plane, and it has a negative charge to it. That sounds crazy, but it's a measurable charge. And there's voltage in the air. Every meter you get up off of the Earth, it goes up 100 volts. At 1 meter, it's 100 volts. 2 meters, it's 200 volts. And this is all measurable. This is where the idea of free energy comes from. Well, you ever hear of an ionizer? You go in a room and you turn on an ionizer, and it statically charges all of the dust in the air to a positive charge, which makes it really get attracted to the ground, and it falls down and you could vacuum it up. Well, the negative charge establishes a downward direction. Those are the only two directions, up and down, because left and right, forward and back are all relative to whatever direction you're facing. But up is up, down is down. And so that weak charge, that weak force, just like they say gravity is a weak force, just establishes the down, and then buoyancy and density sort everything out. If I dropped an anvil, it would fall and probably go right through my floor. If I dropped a basketball over a swimming pool, it would fall through the air because it's denser than the air, but it would stop at the top of the water because it's less dense than the water.
What is our dome sitting on? If there's
it's sitting on the Earth. Okay, what's below the Earth is the question you're going to ask.
Right.
So the deepest hole ever dug on flat Earth or ball Earth, doesn't matter, the deepest hole ever dug is short of 8 miles. And this is what happened. It's in Russia. It's called the Great Borehole. And while they were digging, they used ground-penetrating radar to see what they were going to be hitting next. And guess what? They were wrong every step of the way. They're like, oh, no more rocks. They hit rocks. Oh, there's going to be no more water. Then they hit water. And so they were wrong every step of the way. And then when they got short of 8 miles, they hit an impenetrable barrier, kind of like a dome underneath us. And they couldn't drill through it. They couldn't blow it up. They tried for years, and they couldn't get through it. An impenetrable barrier. So for scale...
Isn't it just like hotter as you go into the core?
It does... So you were brought up on a meme of a globe where it was sectioned out and you see all of these layers.
Right.
But... So that hole is like drilling halfway through the skin of an apple. If you have a big apple and you halfway through the skin, that's the 8 miles, okay? And they were wrong every step of the way while they were digging what they were going to hit next. How the hell are they going to know what's all the way down to the middle, thousands of miles away? It's all pseudoscience.
Then how are they able to say there's a core, the mantle, the inner crust, the outer,
like this? There's a core, a mantle, and an inner crust. Look, I've got a bow tie, and I'm wearing a white lab coat, and it's in a textbook. You have to believe me. That's how they do it.
Well, okay, but what about back to the original thing? What are the scientists that are in your community? Who are they? What are their names? Are they hidden or?
No, there's some of them out there, but there's a one named Brian Mullins. He does a series called Balls Out Physics, and he shows you how the Earth is provably not moving, not motion. There's no moving, there's no curvature. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. We've done tests with lasers and microwaves and over frozen lakes, and there is no curvature. If you have a ball 4,901 miles around, there's a curvature, and so if you're looking out over flat water, do you know what the curvature formula is? You probably don't. I'll tell it to you. It's 8 inches per mile squared. The first mile you go, there's an 8-inch drop. The second mile is 2 times 2 times 8 is 32 inches. The third mile is already 6 feet of drop. This is globe math. Okay, I'm not making this up. This is globe math. You can check it out because as you're going out, the Earth is dropping away faster and faster. So it's a escalating rate. So at a 6-foot tall person standing at the edge of calm water should only be able to see the surface of the water for 3 miles, and then the water should drop behind a physical curve, but it doesn't. This is a video where we call it the Black Swan, where we had a camera at 1 foot off the ground. At 1 foot off the ground, the horizon is less than 2 miles away. But we can see oil rigs that are 9 miles away, where there should be 59 feet of drop. But not only can we see all the way to the oil rig, we can see the water for miles beyond the rig.
But also
miles.
In theory, shouldn't we see everything else on the Earth if we're just looking straight?
Yeah. Well, that's a first thought you would have, but. When you're in a big swimming pool of perfectly clear water, you can't see the other side of the water because the water just blocks the light. It becomes dense. Air is the same thing. We can't see hundreds and hundreds of miles, even on the clearest of day, because the light can't get to you. But with our optics, we can see things that are way farther than they should. With infrared, we can burn through some of that thickness and see things. We can see mountains.
So have people done that with the infrared or something with the large camera?
And on my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, there's a frequently asked questions page, and there's 21 different categories, all the questions you could ever think of, and all of the videos with all of the tests. Now, don't believe me. Don't believe a video. Let the video show you, and then go test it yourself. But these are provable, actual proofs.
So in theory, if I had like the greatest camera in the world, right, that had like infrared, whatever, that blocks their air density, I could see my relatives in a different continent.
No, absolutely not. There's several reasons. One, why can't everybody see Mount Everest? You can't see that far. The light can't go to you. In Aluja, France, there's a great example.
No, but he's saying like if it was the best circumstance ever.
Even the clearest, crispest day with zero humidity, you can't see forever. For example, on a super clear day, I put my drone up at with a 4K camera, and I watched the sun. It went in 5 minutes time. It went from pretty high off the horizon all the way down right to the horizon. Okay, and then I have the video I made is really sped up. It's 2,500%. And then the sun just sat there on this apparent horizon, and the horizon is never the real horizon. It's always an apparent horizon. And then the sun didn't go down for 10 minutes. It sat there, and then all of a sudden it just faded into the thickness. This is on the clearest friggin' day.
So we don't live on a flat Earth. We live in a simulation.
Well, the Earth could be a simulation, but it's a flat simulation.
I thought the sun was always above us.
The sun is above us, but it goes beyond, it goes beyond...
Like a sunset. Like, what's a sunset then?
Yeah. So a sunset is just the sun moving beyond. When you're looking over the land, there's always trees or houses or hills or something that is going to eclipse it. Imagine if you're sitting in your yard and there's a fence 10 feet away from you, a 5 foot high fence, and there's a 6 foot tall person standing right on the other side of the fence, and you can see their head. As they walk away, their head just goes behind the fence. But if you stood up, you can see them again. Right? You're not looking over a ball.
Yeah.
And if you go down, it goes down.
Yeah.
So when you're looking 20, 30 miles away at a mountain range, at a city, it's compressed into the horizon. The clouds, which are 10,000 feet at 30 miles away, touch the horizon. So the cloud deck is above your eye line, although it just looks like it's at the horizon. And when the sun goes away, it just sets below it. It's all perspective.
Once it hits the sunset, right, does it pop up somewhere else on the Earth?
No, because as the sun goes around, like it shows on the app, it's when it approaches you, it comes higher in the sky, and then it goes over your head.
No, but it should get smaller though. It should get smaller than that. Sometimes it gets bigger.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it gets bigger. Sometimes it gets smaller.
Yeah, but when it's going down. Like on the sunset. So hang on. There's a lot to it. Again, you're looking up in the sky. The optics of the sky are not going to tell you the shape of the Earth. The shape, I don't care if the lights in your ceiling are balls. Your floor is flat. Okay, in a room. So saying that something is a one shape in the sky doesn't prove the shape of the floor. But there's a thing called atmospheric magnification. As you're looking across the atmosphere, it magnifies things. So the sun is getting smaller due to perspective, but it's also being magnified. But on a super clear day, and on the app under How Does the Sun Set, we have dozens of videos where you can see the sun sitting right above the horizon, and you can see it going away, getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it turns into a dot and disappears. But it's also magnifying somehow.
Well, no, it wasn't, because it was super dry, and the place where the videos were taken are not near water, and it was cold and no humidity. Super dry, arid areas. That's when you'll see the sun shrink like that. Other times the sun shrinks just a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it gets bigger. It's all how your eyes see. Again, on a radio show, it's hard to, I can tell you, now you're like, all right, that's interesting, let me look further. On the app, under How Do the Sun Sets, just watch the videos and then you'll understand.
Okay. I know like you have a lot to say, and I want to make sure that you know that we respect that. And the reason we're coming up with all these questions is just because I know that our listeners are saying it that way. So in no way do we mean any like
no. Please ask me the hardest questions
questions.
and do whatever you want. Go ahead.
I do want to like come to a little wrap up soon, but I have some like other questions for you regarding like maybe other conspiracies or your personal opinion on certain things. So could we do that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
What do you believe on a religious level of what happens when you die? Or
so let's this will tie together.
Okay.
Why the lie? All right, and that'll get into that.
Sure.
So before I discovered the Earth was flat, I guess you could classify me as an atheist. I'd be listening to a podcast, awesome stuff, taking 3 pages of notes. They'd mention Jesus, Muhammad, the Bible, whatever. Boom, they're gone. The pages are in the garbage. Unsubscribed. Those are religious fanatics. I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. Okay, but then I discovered the Earth is not an accident. You know, in the heliocentric model, nothing exploded, created everything, created balls that lightning struck, created an amoeba that turned into a fish, that grew legs, that turned into a monkey, that turned into a human. I believed all of that, and I believed I'm on a random speck spinning in a godless or distant god universe where an asteroid could take me out at any time. I'm insignificant. I have no meaning, and I'm a random accident. That's where people live. So when I discovered that the Earth was flat, it's not the shape, it's the lie. It's the globe lie. But the Earth, if it's flat and it's constructed, it has a creator. So there is a creator. And then where you want to take that, that's your own personal journey. Who is the creator? Why? How? Where did they come from? I don't know. But there's a creator. That means there's a God, for lack of a better word. If there is a better word, there's a God. And that we, instead of being lost in space, spinning out of control, you find out that you are at the center of creation, that you are special, that you have power, and that nobody has dominion over you. Nobody can take away your universal free will or God-given free will, whatever you want to call it. And that's universal law, where you are a free human being and nobody is allowed to interfere with that. No governments, no anybody. And the governments that run this world, they know that. They know that they can't do that. So that's why they always tell us what they're doing and they always get us to consent. They tell us, and then when we don't say no, the way it works is you're saying yes if you don't say no. So people in this world are living in fear. They're giving up their sovereignty to these governments. Government means control, ment means mind, govern the mind. So this is, and they keep us in fear. You watch the news, you believe all of the nonsense with, there's no more food and we live on this prison planet where there's no more land. There could be hundreds of other continents beyond Antarctica. We don't know because we're not allowed to go there. We're locked in a prison. In 1957, they put a fence around us, which was the Antarctic Treaty. And then NASA came in and said, we have Van Allen radiation belts. We can't go through those. So they put a fence over us, too. And that's it. So the reason for the lie is for control. Because when you wake up to the flat Earth, you can wake up to a lot of deceptions in this world and not, and then still remain asleep.
Couldn't you say that the flat Earth community is part of one of these? You could call it a group, a religion, a cult, one of those types of things.
100% not, because we look at science. We're not pseudoscience.
Well, not 100%, because there are people that, I could say in my religion, there's people that blindly follow it or follow because of other people. So it's not, you can't speak on the behalf of everybody. That's
I could tell you, there's nobody just says, I believe in flat Earth. You look and say, wow, I've been lied to. Here's the thing. Things can fall into 3 baskets. Works on a flat Earth, works on a ball Earth, or works on both. Like circumnavigation, east and west, work on both. But circumnavigation south doesn't work on a flat Earth, but it's never been done. You'll find things like we can see too far. Water lays flat. There is no curvature. There is no spin. There is no rotation. Every scientific test that for the last 100 or 200 years that's been done to prove the sphericity of the Earth or the motion has failed. They're accredited scientists that have done these, and they've all failed, but they don't teach you that in school. nothing falls into the works on a ball Earth model. And I said at the beginning, I have a Bitcoin for anybody that can come up with one proof of the globe, and nobody has been able to do it.
What was the, you said the reason they're lying to us is
to hide God.
To hide God. Okay. That's interesting. What do you
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, these last few things. Dinosaurs, were they real?
There was big lizards, but the dinosaurs, they tell us, were all nonsense. There's no dinosaur skulls. They find one little bone and they come up with an entire dinosaur out of it. It's complete nonsense. And the whole dating of how old the bones are, they found some what was it? It was a bone from something. Wait, what was it? They sent it in for carbon dating, and they lied on what it was, and they said that it was 10,000 years old or 8,000 years old, and they're like, oh, this is from a dinosaur skeleton. This is a piece of DNA from a dinosaur skeleton, and then the lab freaked out and said, well, you should have told us, and you're no longer allowed to send stuff here. It's all nonsense.
Okay, aliens.
Extraterrestrials, extra terra. Terra is land. Extra land beyond Antarctica. Extraterrestrials are a day flight away on a conventional aircraft.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I asked this earlier. Past Antarctica, there's no assumption of what the extra land is.
So there again, we can speculate all day, and some people believe that we live in the center pond with our sun going around, and then there's other lands beyond Antarctica with their own sun. There's a story called the Iron Republic. If you look it up on YouTube, there's a reading of it, and it talks about lands beyond Antarctica.
It could be infinitely flat, is what you're saying.
There could be. Other puddles out there, other ponds, hundreds of them.
Do you think that ultimately it's a dome?
I think that we live within a dome. That dome could be energetic, it could be frozen, it could be glass. I mean, if you look at the Bible, it's a flat earth book. The page 1 says God separated the waters from the waters and put a firmament, which is a dome. And there's 200 verses in the Bible that talk about an immovable, motionless earth. It cannot be moved. 200 verses that say that.
I would argue there's many interpretations you can take as far as
that's why I don't lead with the Bible. I don't lead with the Bible, but they never mention planet, they never mention sphere. There's only one verse that says circle, but the circle of the earth.
So you think that planets are not real then?
I think that planets they used to be called wandering stars, and they changed their names to planets and not that long ago. You know how we're told that that we've known the earth is flat for 500 or 2,000 years? That's nonsense. I was interviewing a woman, 102 years old, last January of 2020 about the World's Fairs, and she had such a great memory. She was telling me about her 5th birthday party, and I asked her where she went to school. She knew the name of the school, the street, the teacher, her kindergarten teacher, kids in the class, and I said, what did they teach you in school about the earth? And I had never mentioned flat earth to me, and she looked me in the eye and she goes, they taught me the earth was flat, but then they changed it when I was in the later years in school. And then we found a woman in Croatia. She said everyone in the 1930s in Croatia knew the earth was flat. So then we looked on microfilm and we found articles from the UK, from America, from all different places about teachers that were being persecuted in the early 1900s for trying to introduce heliocentrism into the school system. And then the world wars started happening and everyone got distracted and the Rockefellers took over all the textbooks and they changed history.
What about the ancient Greeks, like Aristophanes?
So Aristophanes was wrong. And by the way, Aristophanes, he's the guy that figured out, with sticks and shadows. He's the most famous Greek mathematician. Wouldn't you say? He figured out the shape of the earth. But he assumed that sunlight was coming in straight. How would he assume that when we never see sunlight coming in straight? And on a flat earth, if you have a small local sun, you can get the exact same results. The sun over one place is directly over the stick, and just a few miles off to the side, there'll be a shadow. So I can do the same thing. I could have 2 sticks on my desk, a light over one of them. I can measure the angle of the shadows and tell you the sphericity of my desk, when my desk is in truth flat. But here's the funny thing. There are 0 books about Aristophanes and his experiment until the oldest one we could find is in the 1980s when he was inserted into school textbooks. A fake story. And everyone knew the Earth was flat in the early 1900s.
Is there any life beyond the dome?
I believe that there is, but that's speculation. I believe that
There could be multiple domes?
So I did a talk. If you want to write this down, my YouTube channel is DITRH. It's called its initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and I did a talk called "The Outward Flow of Civilizations," and it theorizes how the Earth birth suns in the center and they move outwards. Right now, we are on the second ring. There's another ring in the north that we are not in. And there's another ring outside of Antarctica. Well, that outside of Antarctica ring used to be here, but it moved outwards. And all of the Aztecs and all of these civilizations that just picked up and left, they all moved south with their sun. Okay? And so we are separated by these rings. Again, this is me. This is, a lot of people believe this, but we can't prove it, but there's a lot of evidence supporting it. So do I believe that there's other civilizations here? Absolutely. I so believe it.
This all sounds like The Truman Show meets The Wizard of Oz.
Well, The True Man Show. I mean, The Truman Show is telling us a lot of truth.
I could say anything.
Yeah.
He'd be like, chock-o-lit. Let's dive into this.
Wait, so why would they allow Truman Show to be released?
Well, again, part of natural law is they have to tell us. They can't put a bear trap in the woods without buried in leaves without putting a sign saying, hey, there's a bear trap. Part of natural law is they have to tell us what they're doing. They have to tell us about the deceptions. They've told us about 9/11. They told us about everything before it happened.
So you don't think 9/11 happened either?
You know what? If that's a
I don't want to get into it, but
yeah, that's a real question. You guys haven't looked into it at all. So if you think that's a real question, you haven't looked into it at all. That's all.
I'm asking for the listeners.
Yeah, for the listeners. Here's for the listeners. If you think that 9/11, if you think
we're
that
three brown people, David, we have our own opinions, but we can't say it too loud.
Yeah, so if you want to learn about 9/11, again, belief is the enemy of knowing. Belief is easy. You can believe anything. You believe what you see on the news and you're done. Go drink a beer, take a nap, doesn't matter. But if you want to know, it takes time and effort and critical thought. If you want to know about 9/11, stoplookthink.com. Stoplookthink.com. Click the 9/11 page. Bring some food and water. You're going to be there for a couple days, and then you'll know.
Great. Now I got to check my windows to see if there's FBI agents outside.
Well, you're already talking to me, so you guys are on the list.
Oh, Lord. We're already on the list as brown people. You just put this.
No, I said the Wizard of Oz because in the Wizard of Oz, it's basically like this person who's controlling things. But
a very telling story.
Hiding God. That kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, so here's the thing. There's a lot of people that know God, that have found God, and are living good lives. They're just missing out part of it.
Wait, what people?
There's people that, all different religions that feel that they are having a relationship with God. Here's my opinion of your relationship with God. If you are godly, if you are Christ-like, I'm not saying Jesus Christ, I'm saying that you obey God's law. Don't kill anybody. Don't steal from anybody. Don't get in anyone's face, and be a good person and help your neighbors. Then you are a godly person and you're living a good life. And however you want to, you can take that farther if you want. That's fine. But there's also people that think that they're a random speck where their actions have no effect on their future or anything, and they don't realize that there's karmic responses to karmic penalties for behaving badly. Do you guys believe in souls? Do you guys believe in souls?
Spirituality aside, two-part question.
Okay,
God. Why? Part one, why would they want to hide God from us? And if we did believe that they are trying to hide God from us, wouldn't that mean that somebody is in contact with the Creator?
Well, some people say if there's a God, there's a devil, for lack of a better word. There's good and there's evil. Uh-huh. And there's a lot of evil in this world that is controlling this world. They say, the world is Satan's dominion or something like that. But there's a lot of evil in this world, and what evil wants, the saying, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making you think he doesn't exist. Well, that's a lie. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making you think God doesn't exist. Because if you find out that you live in a created world, you change. I changed, and I've taken my power back. And I had my dream job. I live in a Fairfield County. I don't know if you know where that is, on the East Coast. It's like the Beverly Hills of the East Coast. All right?
Wait, what state is that?
Connecticut.
Yeah, Fairfield.
Yeah. So I
was just playing volleyball there last weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
What town?
Let's meet up.
Yeah,
my sister lives in Connecticut. I know a lot of people there now.
I'm in Greenwich. Okay, so
we'll meet up.
Yeah. So here's the deal. So I live in a great spot, and where was I going with this? What was the question?
God, if there's trying to hide God from us, why? And if so, then somebody's in contact with the Creator, that they're trying to not have us contact Him.
God, I forgot where I was going with that point. The point was that
is there humans that have contact with God if they're trying to hide us from Him?
I don't know, and God isn't trying to hide us. God, there's a passage in the Bible that says, and again, I'm not a Bible guy, but it's an interesting passage. It says, if you see my creation, you can have no excuse to deny my existence. So if you think you live on a spinning ball, you may decide, well, God created a spinning ball universe and you find God. But then most people are like, well, it could be an accident. I'm not sure if God exists. So they're hiding God like that. They're putting doubt. Because if everyone wakes up to the flat earth, if you see that you live in a Truman enclosed dome, okay, then you know there's a God. And it takes out any guesswork. Now you can guess who God is, but you know that there's a God. And then you start realizing who you are and what power you have, and that how your thoughts create your reality, how your thoughts can create any life that you want. So here's where I was going. I live in a wealthy area, and I my whole life I'm like, all right, I got to get a good job. And I worked in corporate America, and I worked my way up to the top of this company, and then the company was sold, and I said, you know what, I'm going to start my own company. I never thought I could do that. I started my own company. We became the number one commercial solar contractor in the state, probably in the East, and maybe even countrywide it was going to go. I was making a lot of money. And I was like, this is my dream. This is my dream. This is the greatest thing ever. But then I realized, this is a really important message. The world is really screwed up right now, and I was looking for a sign. Like, I started having these crazy thoughts of leaving my own company, walking away from this thing that I never thought I could have, that I actually built, and then one day it was presented to me like, hey, look, this can support you. So my app, which is the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, it's $2.99. I'm selling enough of those to pay my bills. When I thought, like, is this crazy? I can't leave my job. And then I went to pay my bills that day, and the money that I got from the app was just enough to cover my bills. And I was like, that's a sign. And I got a couple other signs, which were kind of divinely given at divine times. And I followed it, and I am so happy. My life is so amazing. I'm waking up tens of thousands of people. I'm talking to nice people like you guys. And, at the beginning of this podcast, you guys were like, Flat Earth is crazy. But now you're like, you made a few points. And damn it, now I got to go look. And this is what I tell people. Don't believe a damn word I said. Buy my app. It's $2.99. It's a half a beer.
You're a salesman. That's why.
That's it. I'm doing it for the money. I walked away
kidding.
from $500,000 a year to sell a $2.99 app. That's what I did. Okay, get the app and take the Flat Earth App Challenge. Every day there's a new video that shows up on the corner of the app. It's the featured video of the day, and if you click that video, up comes a video. I have short videos during the week, longer ones on the weekend, and you just watch one video a day for 2 weeks, and then you'll be hooked. And like, if you said, hey, Dave, send me something on the fake moon landing, I send you a video. The next video that's going to pop up is going to be a propaganda piece. But if you go into the frequently asked questions and you find the one like, what about, are all space agencies in on it? You click that, and up come a playlist that Google will never serve you. And you could watch all those videos and go, oh, wow, I never even thought of that. And then you can know what's going on. So what happens is people say, hey, I got your app, and I took the challenge, but I didn't want to wait. So I clicked the little archive button right next to it, which brings up all of the videos from the current month and all of the previous month. And I haven't slept in 2 days. I haven't slept in 2 days, and my spouse thinks I'm insane. what do I do? And I'm like, welcome to Flat Earth. And then everything changes from there. So,
Well, that's great marketing.
That is
well,
great marketing.
and again, I'm selling something that I love. That's not an investment for anybody. And the amount of emails I get. If you go look, it's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's on Android. You have to have 8.0 operating system or better, or iOS. Just go look at the reviews. Besides the few people that have like really old phones and they're having a couple issues, look at the reviews. It's the highest reviews you've ever seen, and just read them, and you'll see that people are like, thank you, greatest app ever, only app I ever paid for, changed my life. Just read the reviews. The reviews might change your life. You don't even have to get the app.
Yeah. We'll link that in the description as well as your
Appreciate
YouTube
that.
channel. And
Okay.
once you send that to me.
You're going to get an automated email right when we're done that has those links in it.
Great. There's the marketing again. We have one last question before you leave
Sure.
our show. And SHAH-AMEER, if you want to take that away.
Yep. If you could describe yourself as any flavor, what would it be and why?
Any flavor, like an ice cream flavor?
Any
You're on
flavor of
strange
anything.
flavors.
It doesn't have to be ice cream. Any flavor of anything. He's like, I gotta look into my app.
Yeah, I gotta look at the app. I don't know. Chai?
Ooh.
Chai. Okay.
Yeah, chai.
Why?
I'd like chai. I like drinking chai tea. It's delicious.
But why?
Because
Why does
I-
it
Why
taste
is
like
it you?
Because it has like a smoky, sweet flavor, kind of like me, smoky and sweet.
Okay. That was unexpected. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, David, we certainly appreciate you coming on here and taking it as well as you could. I think, even though we were a little much at times, but
You guys, if you go to theflatearthpodcast.com and click interviews, you'll see some people that
that
made
are
you
really
guys.
amazing.
Yeah, they're insane. But I just did one just the other day. 3 guys, total ballers, tough, rough guys. And at the end, they were holding their heads. They're like, "Oh my god!" And they were flipping out. And
You got 'em.
it's amazing. Yeah. And
You got
again,
'em.
the reaction is, this is a cult. No, it's not. We're looking at science. We
I
are the
love
most
that the
rational,
only
scientific
time-
people.
That we've thrown you off at all was with that ice cream question. You had a response for everything, and they were like, "Whoa, this is the
Well-
one thing nobody's ever asked me before."
Well, because that's just like an opinion. We're looking at science here. I mean,
I could say anything. It'd just be an automated response.
and we just scratched the surface on the amount of proofs out there. There's so much stuff that destroys NASA, that proves airplanes fly over the Earth plane, not the air globe, and it's amazing.
thank you, David. Good luck with everything in the future. Let's play some volleyball sometime in Fairfield County.
Let me know when you're in
We'll be
town.
good to go. Yeah, let's do it.
And send me a link when this is up, and I'll share it around.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much.
For everybody else listening, thank you for listening to another episode of Strange Flavors. It's been another week.
Another flavor.
A little less strangers.
We'll talk to you next time.
I'm in, look at the biz, now I'm running with this. I only see me on the clouds, not the thunder within. It won't come to my surprise when the hunters come in. And they say me being cocky, they just fuck with my shit. Yeah,